what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, a recent physique update from Cutler posted on his YouTube channel today. So he's going to be doing this kind of weekly on his journey to the Masters Olympia stage, where we know he's not competing, but he did confirm in episode 75 of the Cutler cast with Dana Lynn Bailey that he is going to be doing some kind of guest posing there. He says that was the first official announcement he was going to make about him taking his shirt off on stage. So he's going to be posing at the Masters Olympia, not just going to be some kind of ambassador like they were kind of marketing him to be in some of the promotional material for the show. He will actually have some kind of on-stage guest posing appearance, which will be pretty cool, and that's pretty much what I thought was going to happen. But overall, in this physique update that he posted today, he said he's weighing 240 pounds. And I think you can definitely see a noticeable difference from the first couple updates that we saw from him. I think he looks noticeably leaner. He looks like he's getting a little bit more definition in his legs and in his midsection. But he also said that his goal here was to put on size. So he said he's eating 6 meals a day, so he's trying to kind of grow into this guest posing. So he's not only trying to get in the best shape of his life for 50, but he's also trying to get as big as he's been in 10 years. So I think it's definitely going to be interesting to watch over the next 12 weeks or so what he's actually able to do at this age. Like I said, we haven't seen him on stage in 10 years now, so it's going to be interesting to see in these next 12 weeks how close he can get to how he looked on stage 10 years ago at the Olympia before he retired. But however he looks, I think we should all be grateful that Cutler is doing this at this age. I mean, I think it's pretty impressive that he's able to still maintain the shape that he's in now, let alone go from that 12 more weeks and try to transform even further. I think right now he's in incredible shape for his age, but the fact that he's kind of documenting this whole experience for the fans, I think is something we should be appreciative of. And like I said, even though he's not competing at the Masters Olympia, I think it's a pretty big deal that he's going to be doing a guest posing. So shout out to Cutler. I'm looking forward to seeing the final version of this transformation. Now, next up in the news, some interesting discussion about Chris Bumstead. So recently, Chris Bumstead did a seminar where he did a front double bicep pose at that seminar, and this was posted by the CBum Italian fan page. And this generated a lot of discussion. I saw some of the Brazilian media outlets covering this, saying that his biceps, I guess, looked weird in this pose. Now, obviously, after last year's Olympia, his biceps were the subject of a lot of scrutiny after he announced that, after the show, he announced that one of his biceps had a partial tear. Now, interestingly enough, that's not the same bicep that people are talking about in this picture. You're looking at the one in this picture with the tattoo on the arm. At the Olympia, it was the one without the tattoo that you could see was a little bit swollen, and that was the one that had the slight bicep tear. It was swollen from the injury. But now people are looking at the one with the tattoo on the other side, and they're saying the peak of his bicep looks a little bit shorter. It looks a little bit deformed, kind of reminiscent of what we saw with Larry Wheels when he tore his bicep. The insertion of the peak after he got it fixed, it was like way shorter than the other arm, and people are saying, well, now Chris has this imbalance between his arms. Is it because he got the other arm repaired? So now that makes the one arm look that much more peaked and the head look that much more short. But honestly, I think it's just the lighting. It's kind of a weird angle. It's kind of weird lighting. And honestly, if you look at the Olympia photos, it's about the same. I do think there's an imbalance there, but it's about the same imbalance that we saw from him at the Olympia. And I think it's just really a result of that tear. I don't think the arm with the tattoo really looks that much different. I just think it's the lighting, and like I said, just kind of a weird angle. And I think it's interesting to see, the come up of Chris Bumstead. There was so much hype and positivity towards him as he kind of rose in the ranks. He was like the fan favorite for years. And I think it's been kind of interesting to watch. I was reading some of the comments on these posts, and now the tide, it seems like he's getting a lot more scrutiny, a lot more negativity, a lot more criticism. Now that he's been champ for a while, there's a lot of people rooting for these up-and-comers like Ramon Dino, like Urs Kausinski. And a lot of the comments, like I said, I was reading on these posts, were pretty negative towards Chris, saying he has the worst biceps in classic physique and stuff like that. And I just think it's interesting to watch how people, eventually turn on these guys. And I think that's kind of the fickle part about the sport, is once you've been champion for a while, it does seem like people eventually want to see a fresh face, and they start rooting for a new young up-and-comer, and they just seem to get tired of the old guy and want someone new. So that's been interesting to watch with Chris, because he really has been one of the most popular, positively well-received guys. And I was kind of surprised to see how much negativity he was getting on some of the comment sections of these posts. Granted, they were kind of international posts that I was seeing from the Brazilian audience, and the comments were coming from probably mostly fans of Ramon Dino. But personally, I just think it's the lighting in this picture. I don't think it looks I do see the imbalance, but I think it's about the same as what we saw at the Olympia. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Is there anything to this? Is it just nothing? Is it just a lighting thing? Let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. Now, next up in the news, we got another physique update from Sergio Oliva Jr. We still don't know when we're going to see Sergio on stage. Now the New York Pro has passed. The Arnold Classic Brazil has passed. 2 shows that we know he was looking at doing. This is a pretty full, comprehensive physique update here from the front. He has the caption on this post, "Stand fast and hold firm," and I think clearly you can tell he's still in prep. He's still prepping for a show. Again, we just don't know what, and I don't know if he knows what he's going to be able to do or not. But I think you can tell from the condition he's in here that he's still planning on competing or hoping to compete in the very near future. And like I said before, I think it would have been really interesting to see him do this New York Pro, considering the lineup and considering it really wasn't the deepest one that we've seen in recent memory. I think Sergio would have really been a significant factor at that show. So now I'm hoping we still might be able to see him in Cali. I don't know how likely that is, but I definitely hope that we get to see Sergio on stage in the very near future. And hopefully, if there's any issues preventing him from competing, he's able to overcome them this year and get to the Olympia. Now, next up in the news, we did get to see another guest posing from Nick Walker just a short week after the Pittsburgh Pro, this one being at the Fit Log Classic this past weekend. And honestly, I don't know if it was just the lighting, but I think Nick Walker looked better at this guest posing than he looked in Pittsburgh. Granted, here he's not next to all these other top Olympians like he was in Pittsburgh, but to me, he looked a little bit sharper and a little bit better shape. You could see a little bit more definition in his midsection. To me, he just overall looked tighter and better in this particular guest posing. I'm curious to hear if you guys think that or not, but I think he looked really good here. And probably the majority of what we're going to see from Nick Walker is either going to be guest posings or updates on Instagram, because Nick does not have to qualify for the Olympia. He's already qualified. So we're probably not going to see anything majorly different with his physique for a while until we get closer to the Olympia and he actually gets deep into his Olympia prep. So this is probably about what we can expect to see for the next few months. So nothing super remarkable, but overall I just think he looked better than the Pittsburgh Pro in this particular guest posing. Now, next up in the news, we did get the tentative California Pro competitor list, and so far we don't have Sergio Oliva Jr. on that list, but we do have Slavoj Bednar, Wesley Boxley, Tonio Burton, Nathan Dandridge, Rafael Del Real, Ross Flanagan, Sung Cho Lee, Jose Placencia, Stuart Sutherland again, Beef Stew, and Marius Tomzuk. And I actually think that's Mac Truck, Wes Boxley, who was competing in the open bodybuilding at the Cal Pro, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be pretty cool. But overall, it looks like we're getting a rematch here from the New York Pro between Tonio Burton and Stuart Sutherland, again, a.k.a. Beef Stew. So I did want to recap the New York Pro results really quickly here. Obviously, you guys probably saw by now that Tonio Burton ended up winning that show and Beef Stew took second. Now, to be honest, I think for the finals wrap-up, there wasn't really a whole lot to discuss. I think prejudging, it was pretty clear how this thing was going to shake out, and the scorecards reflected that Tonio Burton receiving a unanimous vote for first place at both prejudging and finals, and Beef Stew was securely in second place at both prejudging and finals, which is pretty clearly what it looked to be after prejudging. So you had Tonio in first, Stew in second, Josef Kvetin in third, Joe Seaman in fourth, and Eric Wood wound up taking fifth. Max Charles slipping outside of that top five and winding up in that sixth place spot, I think to me was the biggest and maybe only surprise of that show. Like I said, I thought it was pretty clear at prejudging. I think most people would agree that Tonio was the clear winner, and I think it's going to be cool to see that rematch in California. But again, that lineup doesn't look that deep either. It actually has less guys than the New York Pro had. But let me know what you guys thought in the comments below about the New York Pro results. Do you think it was, how competitive do you think the lineup was? Do you think this went pretty much as we all expected? And how do you think it's going to go in Cali at the rematch? Now, there were a couple other shows this weekend where guys qualified for the Olympia. I want to include Eric Wildberger, the classic physique guy from Brazil that a lot of people have been talking about. He was able to qualify for the Olympia by winning the Optimum Pro show this past weekend. He's one of the taller guys. To me, he kind of resembles Urs Kalsinski. A lot of people talking about this guy after the past couple shows that he's done. And now we get to see him on the Olympia stage. So congratulations to him. And in 212, you had Kareth Baggio winning the New York Pro. He looked incredible. So he's going to the Olympia. Then in Brazil, at one of the muscle contest shows, you had a Brazilian qualify for the Olympia. Felipe Moraes qualifying for 212. So right there, there's 3 more names added to those Olympia lineups. And overall, a very competitive weekend for bodybuilding, 212, and classic physique. So that's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you haven't already, click that bell notification too. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NickStrengthPower. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.